This is a quick video on how to make a gradient fill. You can do these in InDesign, but most people tend to find that it's much handier to do it in Photoshop. I know that means you're switching back and forth from Photoshop to InDesign or Illustrator, and if you need to make an edit, you have to go back to the previous program. But the tools work better, the bands are much smoother, and so most people like doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and use this tool. I'm setting up my document to have black on the foreground and white in the background. You'll get the gradient tool. If I wanted to make like a radial ball, that would end up going from like white to dark. I'll make sure that this dot is selected so that I've got the radial option. But if I want to do a gradient one, that's the first of these. And if you hover over these long enough, the little name will pop up to remind you that that's the radial and this is the linear gradient, and so on. There's a couple of other oddball options in here. So with this one, if I'm going black to white, that's showing me the direction of this. Black to white. If for some reason you want it to stay black longer, or mainly be black, you could only fade from here to here. So this entire top is black, and all the fading from black to white happens in the lower half. If you wanted to make sure that you never got completely black at the top, I could start way up above the page and drag that from black to white. So by the time we hit the top of the page, it's only kind of in the dark gray range. Or you could adjust these colors in here. So for example, I'm going to come in here and say this color is going to be kind of this color of slatey blue. And if the other one is set to be white, that means it's going to go from dark blue down to white toward the bottom. Or if you wanted to, you could set this other one to be a much lighter version of that blue. Maybe not quite white, but still pretty close to it. So that's some of the options on being able to make a gradient blend. There are some other presets up in here. So if you were to scroll around and find one that had like these three colors like this, but I'm looking for this yellow on blue. The yellow stripe appears to be very thin, and on the orange one, the yellow stripe appears to be fatter. So I'm going to grab it. So if I just use that blend, it's going to go from orange to yellow to orange. But you could also change these colors by just going back here and clicking on this. Click on the orange, click on the color button, pick some color of blue. I'm going to just copy the hex color for this. I'm going to go over and click on this orange one and click on color. And down here I'm going to paste in the exact same thing. And then here on the yellow one, I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to pull this. First of all, I'm going to pick a color down here that's basically white, or maybe not quite white. Very, very pale blue. So now you can see what that's going to end up doing. If I fade from here to here, it's going to be dark at the top, dark at the bottom, and it's going to be white in the middle. If you want to change where this kind of striping effect occurs, you can go back and click on this. And for example, you could have the white appear more in this area. You could also tell it to last a lot longer before the blue starts to happen. So now it should fade pretty quickly to the lighter color, and then hang around in the midtones a little bit more before you get back to that particular color. So several different ways to make a gradient, and then just come back on up to File and pull down to Save, and save this as a Photoshop file is perfect, and just call it whatever you want to be able to then import into InDesign, Photoshop, Illustrator, or whatever it is that you're trying to work on.